All right, so I'm back again, man, with another video. Um, I'm just trying to make these videos, man. Like I be having a lot on my mind to say, y'all. So I'll be having to, what I'm saying, come on with it. But um, I want to talk about uh, I spoke of in my last video. I spoke of Yahusha in the Hebrew. And I wanted to speak on that a little bit more. I'm trying to have my videos have concept. So um I wanted to talk about like the Hebrew period. Now, I mentioned before about the Hebrew holding like divine power in every letter. And I never really talked about what it was that why it's like that. Now, I talked about the sacred geometry, but I want to talk to you about dimensions because in order to understand the Hebrew, you got to understand dimensions. So what happens is this: when you take something like a shape, like a square, first off, you got, for what we understand, we have 11 dimensions in our universe, right? But we only understand about from 0 to 3. When we get to 4 to 11, we can't fathom it because our bodies are in the third dimension. But our souls though can go beyond into higher realms. And that is when we start talking about fourth and fifth and sixth and beyond, right? Now, when you take a shape, right? You take a shape like a square. First, a square was once upon a time a point in 0 dimensions. 2 points made a line. 2 lines, or 4 lines, because you connect the lines, right? You get a square. So when you get to a square, you get to a cube when you go into the third dimension. But here's the thing: every single shape that we see is a part of the universe. So when you take anything, like for example, when you understand the Hebrew letters, right? The original, they call flame letters because what happens is that you take a higher dimensional entity, and when you cast, if like for example, if you were to take a third dimensional sphere and try to put it into a two-dimensional circle world, that circle would only be able to perceive the passing through of the from the third to the second dimension, where you would be able to say that um these you will be only able to see that circle, but really it's actually a sphere, but you can't perceive that because you will be in the second dimension. It's like that in our dimension. The third dimension, when you talk about the fourth dimension passing through the third, it leaves a shadow of a third dimensional figure. Now, when you look at, we can manipulate the second dimension, right? The second dimension is below the third. That's why we can look at a TV screen. You know what I'm saying? And we can manipulate that all to our own liking, right? But here's the thing: the flame letters in the Hebrew, right? The Ra, the Ka, the Ba, all that, you know what I'm saying? Like all of the different letters, you know what I'm saying? That come from the Hebrew. When you look at that two-dimensional shape, right? What that really is a higher dimensional form coming down, passing through the third to the second dimension, so that we as human beings can perceive these letters and these symbols to be able to understand that which we are looking at something that comes from a higher dimension. That's why the original 10 Commandments, who was it that went up to the mountain? Is it Abraham or was it Moses? I can't remember exactly who it was right now. But I'll say the person that went up the flaming mountain and went to the top to receive the 10 Commandments that Yahuwah put there, right? Why was they in the second dimension? They was written on stone tablets, and it was a two-dimensional figure of what we supposed to do. Even the name of Yahuwah. You see what I'm saying? So when you understand that every time you look at a figure, when you look at the Hebrew letters, these are not just things that are just spoken of, like words just created, or symbols or letters that just to be created to just speak. You know what I'm saying? Or just write. These are divine divine powers bestowed to us as human beings, coming from the Creator. When you understand the Hebrew, you get to see how those shapes, those symbols, taken into the third dimension and into the fourth and beyond, are powers. They're living entities that come from the Creator, right? That basically gives us the ability to say to ourselves that we have the power. When we understand the Hebrew, it's encoded into our DNA. So it's like we're taking some symbols, and when we look at these symbols, we're really looking at geometric, sacred geometry once again, that is basically giving us the reality to understand something that goes beyond us. So basically like this, the Ka, that's a Hebrew letter, right? That's how you say it, Ka, right? The Ka is a symbol. It's not a letter in which was written to just be spoken or written down in language. It was understood that the Ka is the spirit. See what I'm saying? The Merkabah. That's understanding these divine shapes, these geometrical, higher dimensional figures that we can access as truly gods and goddesses. When we live our lives according to the way that Yahuwah created the world to be, we become gods and goddesses. But when we try to take his setting and alter it from the default, that's when we just regular meat suits. It's just about the physical. Because when you take it away from that setting, you got to understand what you're taking away. So when you understand the Hebrew letters, this is why the Bible was written in Hebrew. The scrolls were written in Hebrew, Aramaic and Koine Greek, yes. But even in the Aramaic and the Koine Greek, if you even understand the Koine Greek, now the Aramaic I have to do more research on, but I do understand it as the same thing. The Koine Greek even, like gamma, beta, alpha. They're frequencies. So there's energy. But when you understand the Hebrew, you understand the flame letters, because originally, bro, there was the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ethiopian Bible got Enoch in it. Hebrew. Right? The Hebrew, because I remember I did some research. They said before the Tower of Babel, the language that was spoken by all man was Hebrew. Right? So when you understand that, you get to see this. It's a divine tongue. When you say Yahuwah rather than God, you get a different feeling in your heart. Because Yahuwah resonate with your DNA. Your ancestors experienced Yahuwah directly. They're saying the word that when Yahuwah spoke, the weather started to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like, when you understand those letters, those symbols, that's some deep shit, bro. Because what you're taking is you're taking a higher dimensional form and you're putting it into a symbol to be understood by man to access his divine or her divine power. When you access, see, there's a difference. There's a difference between spiritual power, or I should say supernatural power. Because spirit, and when you take spirit is supposed to be divine. So there's a difference between divine power and there's a difference between supernatural power. Because supernatural power comes from anything that's beyond the nature of which we understand. But divine power comes from the Most High. When you understand divine power, this is when you become unstoppable. This is when you access the Creator. You access the Son of the Creator. You access the Ruach HaKodesh. That's why I say the Ruach HaKodesh. Because the Ruach HaKodesh means divine spirit, breath, and wind. Or wind. The Holy Spirit is what they tell us. Holy Spirit. The word holy just means set apart. But divine means supreme. That's why I say, if you really and truly are accessing divine power, you got to understand that Hebrew after a while. Because I remember I watched on Spirit Science, they had a video talking about sacred geometry. And I went and I was doing some research after that video where they was talking about the Hebrew letters, the flame Hebrew letters, which are symbols. You know what I'm saying? And they was saying how they were 128 gates of these geometric patterns, and they're spiritual, you know. And when you access these gates, you have a divine power in each letter. And when you combine the letters, you got this supreme power. But it comes from the Most High. That's why it say in the Hebrew, because you got to think, people will say this. They'll tell you, oh yeah, Kemet came before the Bible. But how is that when the Bible is true? It's based off scrolls, things written on tablets, papyrus, that was going for eons and eons. And then it got put together at about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it's like 1000 BCE or 100 something. It's before the Common Era. I don't remember the exact date, but basically, when you take the Hebrew, bro, every single Hebrew letter is a divine power that you can access this divine power when you speak and when you think. Because every single thought and every single word has a resonance field with it. When you speak English, it got a certain power to it. But when you speak that Hebrew, though, it's a difference. That's the reason why when you got languages that got their own meanings, they got words that just mean something to that language that you can't translate. You have to just learn what it is. That's why I say, man, you got to understand that Hebrew, because the Hebrew is sacred language. Yahuwah spoke Hebrew. When he was speaking and the weather was going crazy because he's so powerful and he speak. In the Old Testament, when it speak about that, he was speaking Hebrew. He wasn't speaking English, not even Spanish, French. He was speaking Hebrew. Ancient language. So that's why it's like you need to understand the Hebrew. When you read and you study that, you're unlocking code within your DNA, within your mind, within your soul and your spirit. You're unlocking yourself. You see what I'm saying? Now, I talked about the net before, but see, what's more powerful than the net? God. Yahuwah. Yahuwah is more powerful than the net because Yahuwah created the net. The quantum strings, that the quantum field that makes up this whole physical world. That's what the net is. I didn't really say too much about that. I said it, but I didn't say it directly. What the net is. So that's why I say, when you access the Creator and you say his name, that's why we got to seek with our hearts him, and he will reveal himself to us. You know what I'm saying? This is some deep, supernatural, spiritual, divine reality that we are tuning into. That's why I say, understand that Hebrew. Because remember, when the text was on stone tablets and papyrus and all that, it was in Hebrew. They was in Hebrew. They wasn't in English. English didn't come into existence yet. The languages that got scattered, see, the story of Babel. Now we getting different. They're talking about Enlil and all that now. But see, here's the thing. The true story is this. The man, we turned away from the Creator and tried to build a tower to go up into the heavens to take down God and take his position. God ain't doing that. God looking at you like, what you trying to do? That's why we got spread out. Because we was taking knowledge from the fallen angels, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are fallen angels that created the Nephilim. That's where Goliath was a Nephilim that David slew or slain. Right? So the Anunnaki were fallen. They came from heaven to earth. They was banished out of heaven to be taken to this planet. Right? Where they, even after they died, their souls roam the earth. That's what evil spirits are. They come in forms of anxiety, stress, depression, hate, envy, greed, lust, all that. And they try to come inside of us. We are truly meant to be pure in spirit, mind, soul, and body. But what happens is that we fall from our, by using our free will that we was given by Yahuwah. We fall. But we got to rise up. It takes for every individual to seek Yahuwah with their whole heart and their whole mind, to understand how to find Yahuwah. Because all the information is here. When you understand the Hebrew, you understand the divine power that is within that. That's what that Hebrew is what created the Bible that we have today. That Bible, you got the Gnostics, the Judaists, you got the Christians, the Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Because the Quran was based off of the first 5 books of the Bible. The Quran is supposed to be based off the Torah. That's the first 5 books. My speaker always doing this on everything. But yeah, I'm like, when it comes down to it, bro, you got to understand that Hebrew. Because you get grace when your heart is seeking the Most High. And you ain't speaking the Hebrew. You ain't speaking the divine tongue. Right? Or even thinking it. You don't know it. You get grace. But once that you find out about the truth, which from people who watching this video, you finding out about the truth. Once you find out that Yahuwah, Y-A-H-U-A-H. Now in the Hebrew it look different though. It's symbols and it's flame letters. You understand that now your grace might be up. Might be time to activate that real mode now. Because now, if you calling upon something of that name, God, Jesus, because Jesus' name was Yahusha. When you understand that and you find that out and you keep saying Jesus, now you talking about Caesar Borgia. When you say God, you could be talking about the fallen gods. Or the false gods. That really is angels that rebelled against the Most High. So that's why it's like, you could receive grace, but you could only receive grace for so long. We got to get back to the original. When we get to our Hebrew, we able to tap into the net. Our mind and our soul, our spirit and our body, we was encoded to have the Hebrew written in our DNA. Yahuwah's name is written in our DNA. YHWH, or the Hebrew word, that's a Hebrew tetragrammaton. It's not Yahweh, bro. Really, when you look at the word, it's Yaharaha, Yaharaha, Yahweh, Yahuwah. It evolves over time. See what I'm saying? That's what the Most High be putting on me to tell y'all, man. So I just had to tell y'all, I have to make another video, like right after I made the last one, because I was like, bro, I really like be having so much to say. So that's why I was like, I gotta make another one right off the bat, and I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna double upload. Wait till this one get done, and I'm gonna upload the next one. But yeah, understand that. Understand it. You feel me? You gotta get it, bro. You gotta get to it. So, just want to say, man, understand the Hebrew. Try to go research and learn some Hebrew, because the Bible was originally written in Hebrew, and if you was a believer, you supposed to know the Hebrew. If you a believer in the Most High, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah Eloheka, and you have no other gods but Him, you got to understand His tongue. Because you was created by him. That's your God. Especially if you're a Hebrew Israelite. You supposed to be knowing the Hebrew. That's your culture. Of the 12 tribes of Yisrael. Yisrael. Israel is what we say today. You feel me? Because we've been spread out throughout the whole world. We ain't in all one spot no more. You know what I'm saying? So, that's all I got to say, y'all. But, yeah, try to get the Hebrew. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Keep this up, man. I'm trying to get these videos out here. I got to get the message out. Because I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of people speak on, like, Hebrew biblical principle. We got New Breed. We got, that's the thing. I can't even think. There's not a lot of people speaking about this Hebraic that talk about the Yahuwah. We got Zoog. Zoog is a rapper, though. He speak on that. We need more of this. We need to bring Yahuwah back to the earth. We on a mission. So, yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep it going. So, yeah. Deuces.